Ladies and gentlemen, please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices for the duration of this ceremony. In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers during the ceremony until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Darrell Hood, the Chief of Staff, Colonel Clendon Phillips, and the Post Command Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Eric Oakes, welcome to the United States Army Training Center in Fort Jackson for the retirement review of one soldier and graduation of companies A, B, C, D, and E from the 3rd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment, 165th Infantry Brigade. Please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Langford.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, today we celebrate these graduates, the men and women who said yes and endured 10 weeks of hard work and now stand ready to defend the freedoms of this great country. Grant each of them the grace and wisdom to live with honor and integrity. We also thank you for the families and military leaders who made this day possible, for the discipline they have instilled and the values they have modeled. We never walk alone, so we are grateful for those who walk with us. Gracious God, watch over us today. When we leave, give us all traveling mercies. But as we participate, may there be a profound sense of joy for what each soldier has accomplished. In your most holy and precious name we pray these things. Amen.
Please be seated. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the men and women you see here who have chosen to serve their country as soldiers. This review is the last official formation in the career of one lifelong soldier and for our newest soldiers. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training. Far fewer are able to accept the challenges and difficulties that come with the life of a career soldier. But those in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. They are embedded with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and these soldiers can take great pride in their accomplishments. To the parents, families, and friends of these soldiers, Fort Jackson extends a very warm and sincere welcome. We are justifiably proud of our retirees' lifelong dedication to our nation and are truly honored that the next generation standing on the field have chosen to join our ranks. Please direct your attention to the left of the formation. The units marching today from your left to the right are the 282nd Army Band under the command of Sergeant First Class Michael Joseph, graduating soldiers from Company A, B, the Battalion Color Guard, and graduating soldiers from Companies C, D, and E. Identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeants. These dedicated non-commissioned officers form the backbone of the Army's training center system, selected based on professional competence, leadership, ability, and years of service. These men and women undergo intensive training to earn the right to wear their distinctive hat and insignia. With the drill sergeant hat goes the important responsibility of molding civilian men and women into soldiers. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Major Brody Moberly, who serves as the executive officer for the 3rd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment. He and the battalion staff are positioned on the field. The reviewing officer for today's graduation is the commander of 3rd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Forrester. On his left is Command Sergeant Major Edward Cummings, the battalion's senior non-commissioned officer, master trainer, and principal advisor to the commander.
Sir, the battalion is formed. War nothing. Stand! Order arm!
The commander of troops will now bring forward the colors and persons to be honored.
Colors and persons to be honored. Center! March!
Competence and commitment are the hallmarks of professionalism. The soldiers and drill sergeants coming forward will be recognized for their excellence in training and duty performance and serve as examples to all.
Sir, the colors and persons to be honored are present. Is that the command?
Ladies and gentlemen, please raise for the playing of the national anthem. It is appropriate for soldiers in uniform and all armed forces veterans to salute the American flag. We ask our civilian guests to please remove your headgear and place your right hand over your heart as our national anthem is played.
Detachment! Present arms!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Detachment! Order! Arms! Have on run for brave rest!
All soldiers begin. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness the retirement of a lifelong soldier. All soldiers begin their journey by graduating from basic combat training. Over the years, there have been changes to how the Army conducts basic training. However, many things remain the same. It was during basic training that this soldier was first introduced to the Army values. It is where he learned the importance of teamwork and that the Army truly is a family. That sense of team and Army family is still embedded in what is done here today. Over 30 years ago, this soldier took the same oath to defending this nation that your loved ones on the field have taken. We salute these great soldiers as they pass the torch of freedom along to the newest generation of soldiers, your loved ones standing on the field today. A certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States is presented to the retiree today. It reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during critical times in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. A certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff, United States Army, is also presented to today's retiree and to the spouse of today's retiree. The Chief of Staff, United States Army, sends the following certificate. It reads, on the occasion of the retirement of your spouse from active status with the United States Army, you have earned our grateful appreciation for your unselfish, faithful, and devoted service. Your unfailing support and understanding help to make possible your spouse's lasting contribution to the nation. At this time, Colonel Hutton, Command Sergeant Major Oates, will recognize our retiree for his service to the United States Army. Sergeant Major Juan Vargas, having served honorably for 30 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 1 November 2024. Sergeant Major Vargas entered active duty in Stockton, California, and will reside in South Carolina upon retirement. His fondest professional achievement have been serving in various leadership positions to care, mentor, and develop soldiers. The nation salutes Juan Vargas, Sergeant Major, the United States Army, retired. Please join me in a round of applause for our retiree and his family. Although newly retired, he will always be a part of our family. The soldiers most responsible for the training of these soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for 3rd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Daly, will recite the Drill Sergeant Creed. We ask that all drill sergeants, past and present, please stand for the reciting of the Drill Sergeant Creed.
I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride itself, in the Army, and in country. I will will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards, military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. Yes, will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Forster and Command Sergeant Major Cummings will now present the awards. The outstanding drill sergeant of the cycle is Drill Sergeant Tyler Daly from Live Oak, Florida. The soldier leader of the cycle for Alpha Company is PFC Christopher Robertson from Austin, Texas. The soldier of the cycle for Alpha Company is PFC Armanson John from North Richland Hills, Texas. The soldier leader of the cycle for Bravo Company is Specialist Elijah Bernard from Portsmouth, Virginia. The soldier of the cycle for Bravo Company is Private David Navarro from Palmdale, California. The soldier leader of the cycle for Charlie Company is PV2 Samuel Emmerich from Springfield, Illinois. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company is PV2 Devon Widener from Lakeland, Florida. The soldier leader of the cycle for D Company is PV2 Laura Birmingham. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company is PV2 Joseph Karuski from Tiffin, Ohio. The soldier leader of the cycle for Echo Company is PFC Xavier Lorenzo from Fayetteville, North Carolina. The soldier of the cycle for Echo Company is PFC Jesse Marquez from El Paso, Texas. The non-commissioned officer of the cycle is Sergeant Jalen Knight from Millbrook, Alabama. The cadre soldier of the cycle is Specialist Williams Deja from Ocala, Florida. The civilian of the cycle is Ms. Berkeley Hall from Ashland, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 3rd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Forster.
Hey, well, good morning and welcome back if you were joining us yesterday to Fort Jackson and Hilton Field. And happy Halloween. All right, welcome what I would consider to be a pretty unique Halloween party with 1,156 new soldiers wearing what I would consider the finest costume in the world, right? The uniform of the United States Army. So Colonel Hutton, Colonel and Mrs. Chapman, Colonel Lulaut, Command Sergeant Major Oaks, distinguished guests, families, friends, and supporters of 339 Infantry, the Bar Nothing Battalion. Thank you for being here today. And a special thank you to the 282nd Army Band on the field for the pride and professionalism that you bring to events like this. How about a round of applause for our band? For 248 years, the United States has remained a free nation because of men and women willing and able to answer the nation's call. These are veterans like Sergeant Major Vargas, whom we just honored, who completes nearly 30 years, actually exactly 30 years and 2 months of service. He remarked to me before the ceremony that his most rewarding job of those 30 years was serving our nation's wounded warriors while at Landstuhl, Germany. So these are the type of veterans that we have in our ranks. So to all our veterans here today, past and present, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, and Coast Guardsmen, we thank you for your service and invite you to please stand, if able, to be recognized. The heart and soul of the effort to produce the 1,156 soldiers on the field before you is our drill sergeants. Every day for the past 10 weeks, our drill sergeants have trained and inspired to produce soldiers with discipline, fitness, and skill needed for the crucible of ground combat. Theirs is a tough and relentless mission, but one that cannot fail. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause to honor the tireless work of our drill sergeants. Since 1973, the United States has relied only on volunteers to fill its ranks of the military. However, not everyone can serve. In fact, less than 1 in 4 of military age are eligible. Less than 1 in 10 are willing to serve. And ultimately, only 1 in 100, that's 1%, ever does. Ladies and gentlemen, standing on the field today is that 1%. The soldiers in front of you represent all this great nation, from sea to shining sea. 49 of the 50 states and 4 U.S. territories are represented. They come from big cities like New York, Los Angeles, home of the world champion Dodgers as of last night, or Chicago, and small towns like Evans, Georgia, Port Gibson, Mississippi, and New Salem, North Dakota. 33 countries and 6 continents are represented in this formation. Places like Ecuador, Afghanistan, the Philippines, Vietnam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. 57 of the soldiers in front of you took the oath of citizenship yesterday and are now proud U.S. citizens. Of the soldiers in front of you, the youngest is 17, and the oldest is 52. I had to fact check this one myself, but this is Specialist Vega from Delta Company, who previously served over 14 years ago and decided to serve his country once again and join up again. "135 have a parent who has served, and 121 are parents themselves. 17 hold an associate's degree, 71 a bachelor's degree, 11 of them hold master's degree, and 1 holds a PhD. One was actually a contestant on American Idol who advanced far enough to earn a golden ticket. And if you were here for Family Day yesterday, you know one of the ones I'm talking about. All 1,156 in front of you raised their hands and volunteered. Some volunteered to be challenged, some seeking a better life, some simply to be part of something bigger than themselves. Many are part of a family legacy of service, with parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents having worn the cloth of the nation before them. There are 1,156 unique stories that led to today. But ultimately, it doesn't matter why they joined. What matters is that they did. The Army's historic motto is "This will defend." The "this" has meant different assignments for the Army across 249 years of history: to fight for American independence, to free and enslave people, to defeat fascism, push back communism, or counterterrorism. We need only to watch the news today to know that the world remains a dangerous place. And none of us knows what sort of challenges await the soldiers on the field before you. But one thing we do know: the Army will always defend the liberty of these United States. We swear an oath not to a person, not to a political party, but to an idea embodied in our Constitution of a government that derives its power from the people. If the nation calls, the Army and these soldiers on the field will answer. Finally, to the soldiers of 339, 10 weeks ago you arrived at Fort Jackson as individuals, but today you leave as members of the Army team. On behalf of the leaders and cadre of the Bar Nothing Battalion, congratulations. You are American soldiers and proud members of our team. And I would say, whether you serve 2 years, 20 years, 30 years, like Sergeant Major Vargas, or 40 years, take pride in the uniform you wear and remember the Bar Nothing way. Always be a good teammate, always pursue excellence, and return it better than you received it. Good luck to you all, and I look forward to seeing you out there. AAAO, Lightning, we make American soldiers, and victory.
Today's soldier is above all a warrior, adaptive, confident, and competent. As a soldier, you are totally committed to the warrior ethos, grounded in Army values and determined to destroy enemies of the United States of America and her allies. The United States Army Soldier Creed embodies this commitment. To the soldiers on the field, the uniform you wear at this moment is more than an outward display of your vocational choice. Your uniform is a symbol of a nation and an unspoken assurance to all who see you that you are willing and able protector of the freedoms fought so arduously for by all who have gone before and those who will bravely come after. You have become what you set out to be, a soldier in the United States Army. The Soldier's Creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as PB2 Samuel Emmerich presents a certificate of appreciation to the retiree and leads the soldiers standing before you through the reciting of the Soldier's Creed.
Soldier! I am the warrior that never seen. I serve the people of the United States.
Please be seated.
Pass and review. Pass and review!
In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. As you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Once the ceremony has concluded, family members of awardees may let their soldier under the canopy located to the left of the bleachers. All other family members and friends, please meet your soldier on the field, once instructed by the narrator by respective companies. The 39th Infantry Regiment was organized at Camp Syracuse, New York on 1 June 1917 by transfer of veteran troops from the 30th Infantry Regiment. In December, the 39th was assigned to the 4th Infantry Division, and in the spring of 1918 sailed for France as part of the American Expeditionary Force in World War I. The regiment fought with such valor and distinction during the war that it has earned its famous nickname, Fighting Falcons. During World War II, the regiment fought as part of the 9th Infantry Division. The Fighting Falcons of the 39th became the first unit of United States combat troops to set foot on foreign soil when they stormed the beaches of Algiers in November 1942. During fighting in Sicily, Italy, the regiment came under the command of legendary Colonel A. Patty Flint, who gave the regiment its triple AO bar nothing slogan: anytime, anywhere, anything, bar nothing. The regiment took great pride in the triple AO slogan, displaying it on their helmets and vehicles even in combat. When questioned about the soundness of practice, Colonel Flint confidently declared, "The enemy who sees our regiment in combat, if they live through the battle, will know to run the next time they see us coming." For its part in World Wars I, II, and the Vietnam conflict, and 39th Infantry Regiment possesses 21 battle streamers. Its decorations include 4 presidential unit citations, 4 French Croix de Guerre, 2 with palm and 1 with gilt star, and the Belgian 4J. Following reactivation and transfer to the Training and Doctrine Command, the 2nd Battalion, 39th Infantry Regiment departed Fort Dix, New Jersey for Fort Jackson, South Carolina, arriving on 22 August 1990. The battalion is justifiably proud of its historic past and today continues to uphold these same high standards of excellence in basic combat training as it prepares young men and women for service to their nation, anytime, anywhere, bar nothing. Passing the reviewing stand is the commander of troops, Major Brody Moberly, and the battalion staff. The 282nd Army Band is commanded by Sergeant First Class Michael Joseph. The drum major is Staff Sergeant Cameron Chandler. Company A is commanded by Captain Aaron Flaherty. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rochelle Reeves and trained by Drill Sergeant Telez David. Second platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Cavardis Blakely and trained by Drill Sergeant Zachary Gonzalez. Third platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Samuel Agudello and trained by Drill Sergeant Canu Andreas. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Naisha Smith and trained by Drill Sergeant Nicholas Scott. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Russell Everett. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to raise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Company B is commanded by Captain Joshua Akers. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Corey Gant and trained by Drill Sergeant John Holkestra. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Carnell Bryan and trained by Drill Sergeant Anthony Mascarian. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Colby Owens and trained by Drill Sergeant O'Day Norali. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Trina Friquez and trained by Drill Sergeant Tilda Haley. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant David Payton. Company C is commanded by Captain Nikita Hooks. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Philip Marlowe and trained by Drill Sergeant Robert Douglas. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Jason Cavella and trained by Drill Sergeant Devin Davis. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Jason Damon and trained by Drill Sergeant Alexander Rudd. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Colin Willis and trained by Drill Sergeant Demetrius Lovelace. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Andrew Wiley. Company D is commanded by Captain James Scott. First platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Wesley Medores and trained by Staff Sergeant Edwin Sanchez. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Jacob Cooper and trained by Drill Sergeant Lario Brizino. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Matthew Keeler and trained by Drill Sergeant Gerald Scott Sibua. 4th Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Stephen Harold and trained by Drill Sergeant Joshua Alliman. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Dane Moore. Company E is commanded by Captain Dwight Wells. 1st Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Andrew Diorio and trained by Drill Sergeant Chatavia Dees. 2nd Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Richard Furman Alvarez and trained by Drill Sergeant Taylor Borscher. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Mason Sullivan and trained by Drill Sergeant Ian Leahy. 4th Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Abimael Marquis and trained by Drill Sergeant Tia Glenn. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Andrew Barcy. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Army song and please remain in the bleachers until the conclusion of the ceremony is announced.
Take charge of the battalion.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Retirees and their family members and family members of awardees, please move to the canopy to the left of the bleachers. All other family members and friends, please meet your soldier on the parade field once instructed to by respective companies. We ask that you please remember to take all trash and personal items with you as you exit. Please enjoy the rest of your day and have a safe journey home. Victory starts here.